Hi, I'm Jim.
And I'm Audrey.
And we both love wine.
But we have some different views.
Which is why this series is called His
and Hers
Wine. Alright, so we're dressed a little fancy today.
A little bit more touched up than usual.
Why is that?
We were out at the fall races today in Middleburg. Those are horse races out here in Loudoun County. Beautiful fall day.
It was beautiful.
A little chilly.
It was a little chilly. It started out warmer, but the temperature dropped while we were there, which brought up a topic because this is a wine event. This is where people are serving wine. Does the temperature of the wine when you serve it, does it make a difference?
Yes.
There we go. Video's
We're
over.
done.
We're done.
Yes.
How does the temperature affect? Let's talk about whites first, because we usually think about whites we serve chilled, right? And reds at room temperature. But what does chilled mean? Does that mean down to just above freezing? Does it mean a little bit cooler than room temperature? What is chilled?
So chilled for a white wine, if you're talking about a light-bodied white, normally you want to have it up to 45 degrees, between 40 and 45 degrees. If it is a fuller-bodied white, like a Chardonnay, you would take that up just a few degrees, so 47 degrees, and we're talking a light variance, 47, 48 degrees, something in that range. I don't go around with the thermometer necessarily testing the temperature of my whites. I keep them in the refrigerator, in a wine fridge, something like that.
Okay, now, let's say I've got some friends coming over, I run out to the store, I grab that bottle of white wine, and they're going to be here in 10 minutes, I throw it in the freezer.
Planning much?
No, yeah, exactly. So I do what a lot of people do, I throw it in the freezer.
We all do that, we do. And they will tell you not to do that because it shocks the wine. And there's lots of things about don't shock your wine. The best way to do it is to put it in an ice bath.
Right, it actually works faster because liquid will cool it faster than cold air will.
Yeah, we're not talking about just the ice. You put water in with the ice, and that is what works best.
And it is not good to have a wine bottle be shocked temperature up and down repeatedly.
Yes, that is where that shocking the wine is bad, when it's going up and down. And if you're storing your wine in a basement or somewhere that you think is cool, but the temperature's actually fluctuating, not good for long-term storage.
Right, and bad for the cork. Because we don't want that cork to shrink and expand and allow air to get in.
Absolutely.
All right, so white wine, we've got some here. I've got some for you to try. This is actually a Gruner Veltliner.
He's decided I'm the guinea pig today.
Yeah, you're going to be the guinea pig. So we've got a glass that's been sitting out. You've been at your event, you're talking, you're telling a story, and your wine's just been sitting, and now you're going to pick it up. And it's been sitting for a while.
What you're saying is you've let this get a little bit too warm for a white. And so it's a Veltliner, so it is a lighter body white, right?
Lighter body white.
Okay, so that warmth actually brings out a little bit more alcohol in the wine, and depending on how warm that could be, to me it can get a sour taste in there, but I'm going to give this a try.
All right. And watch, see what face she makes.
It does taste. It does actually taste a little sour to me. I don't remember exactly what term the professionals might use in the book for that, but it is when that alcohol level gets higher than it should be because it's too warm.
And it's not the alcohol changing; it's just that you can taste it more, and the acids and the fruit flavors you're tasting less.
Absolutely, it's the way that your taste buds are going to perceive this.
All right, now I've got a properly chilled, and didn't show this before. So this is the Gruner Veltliner that we're using today, and this is properly chilled out of the wine fridge. And let's give that a taste.
And yes, I have my wine fridge in that nice range for those whites, so we can take it right out, and it's a good thing. They will tell you that if you overly chill wine, and I don't know if you've tasted, I have before, and I felt like I just didn't taste anything. It can actually be too cold for your taste buds, like numb your taste buds.
Yeah, a little bit, so that you're not really tasting anything.
You're really not perceiving any taste if it's too cold.
So if you're in that right range, what she should get is that nice acidic pop with some fruit flavors and the alcohol a little bit in the background.
That is much nicer.
Is it much nicer?
Okay, I'm like, we're going to have to let you take, I'm sorry that I get to be the guinea pig, but wow, that is really different. Much better.
Okay, and so what are you getting out of this glass is properly chilled versus the first one?
Oh, this one, I am getting that good acidity, which is bringing my mouth back to the glass. I want to have more of it. But I'm getting those citrus notes that I should without a sourness there. So it's very clean, light, fresh. So the freshness comes through. That's the acidity part of it.
And I almost think of it as thirst quenching. That you just want to keep drinking. It's nice, it's refreshing.
Like I am, just keep drinking.
Yeah, just keep drinking. All right. Okay. So that's white. So whites we want to be in that 40 to 46 degree range, 43 to 46 range.
Depending on the body of the wine.
Right.
So yeah, with the lighter bodied wines, you want to be on the lower side, like up to 45. But it's, yeah.
In that range.
In that range.
In that range. Because we want the flavors to come out.
Yes.
Now, red wine, we talk about serving red wine at room temperature. What's room temperature? I mean, because, if you and I had to be in separate rooms and set our own thermostats,
Yes.
we would be setting them at very different temperatures.
Yeah, room temperature, what they're considering, now this is back from, the days of old where they didn't have centralized heating and things of that nature. So room temperature was considerably colder than what you and I might do.
Well, and it's also important to know, if you think about where do they store wines in places like Europe, in caves, down in these caves where it's cool, it's damp, and so the wines are actually being stored cooler. We leave it on the counter, we leave it on a rack, but actually red wine should be stored at a lower temperature also.
So I'm going to give you a basic 68 degrees Fahrenheit is in that ballpark. So you're talking a few degrees colder or warmer, but in that range. So 68 degrees is kind of the high point of that range. You want to be 65, 68. The best description I heard of that was, think of yourself in a movie theater in the summertime.
Okay. Yeah.
It's about that temperature.
Where I feel fantastic and you need a sweater.
And I like this. Yeah. That's it.
All right, so there's another consideration with red wine besides the temperature, and that is, do you need to decant a red wine?
To decant or not decant?
Right, and what does decanting do? What is that all about?
So decanting adds oxidation. So oxidizing the wine will smooth out some of those tannins, bring it back to a more fresh level. So decanting is often used with those very highly tannic wines to help almost bring that aging process forward. However, the other thing that it does is take a normal table wine and bring it up a notch.
It does. So why don't we just leave them open all the time? Why don't we just leave them oxidized all the time?
Too much of a good thing. No. Too much oxidation will just turn it right into vinegar.
That's right. So if you're going to open a red wine and decant it, you're finishing the bottle. Or throwing a lot of wine away, which I prefer to finish the bottle.
Yes.
All right. So what we're going to do today for a test is I picked Spanish wine because Spanish winemakers have a system where they have the same grape, same wines made at different levels. So the base level is the Crianza level, and then from there they go to a Reserva level, and then their top level is their Gran Reserva.
Yes.
Okay, so I have used Val Serrano Rioja today. Okay, put that up there. That is a very nice Rioja. I've got the Crianza level, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you taste that. And I want to know two things. One, does aerating it, either using decanting method or an aeration method, does that bring the level of the wine up?
Okay.
And then two, if it does bring the level it up, does it bring it up to the level of the Gran Reserva level?
That's a tough bar, but let's try.
Let's try. Okay, so this is Crianza.
Okay, just a little
Rioja.
splash there.
Just a little splash there. And this is right out of the bottle.
Okay.
Okay? So what are you getting there?
That's nice. This is, like you said, this is a good Rioja, so I'm actually getting some good flavors out of there. It's very nice.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so the next thing I'm going to use is an aerator. Now this is a model that was given to us as a gift, and what happens is you pour the wine up here, and then it has a little dealy bobber inside. To be technical, that's a technical term. I think that's Latin.
Yes.
And
Dilly bobber to oxidize, add aeration.
It whips the air around into the wine, so that when it comes out the bottom, it's aerated. So we're going to give that a try and see if that improves the wine at all over what you just had. Okay, so let's give that a little, make sure we don't spill this all over the table. All right, just that quick. And you probably heard that sound because it was right next to the microphone. It probably sounded terrible.
Sorry about that.
But that was actually the sound of the wine whipping around and getting aerated.
I get a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a huge difference on this particular wine. It's smoother.
Is it smoother?
It is smoother. So there's still some good oakiness that I'm getting in there, but the freshness of the fruit is coming out more than it did before. Okay. So again, some of that harshness comes down. So when some of that harshness comes down, it's not blocking that fruit flavor. So I'm just actually getting a little bit more fruit flavor on that.
All right.
Nice. Okay.
So next, about an hour ago, about half an hour ago, I put this in a decanter. And this is a decanter, as you can see, that wide bottom, so exposing a lot of the wine to the oxygen. And so this has been sitting for about half an hour.
Okay.
And we're going to go ahead and we're going to try that and see what you think of the wine that has been decanted.
So this is still the Crianza level.
Crianza level,
Okay,
decanted.
but decanted, and for a longer amount of time rather than just one trip through the aerator. That is nice. That is nice. Again, I'm not sure am I at Grand Reserva level or not.
Well, so the idea with you saw how fast the aerator went.
That's true.
The idea is that it's getting air to all of the wine all at once. Mm-hmm. With the decanter, right, because of the shape, you're getting air to the surface of the wine, but not down in the wine.
Right.
And so that's why it has to sit longer. So does forcing the air in the wine to mix immediately, is that different from sitting in a decanter?
And my recommendation and personal opinion on this is going to be that if it's on a Crianza level, that if you decant it for too long, because it's not a high level wine, they could actually start to make that turn that is not as good. Whereas one pass through the aeration and drinking it right away might have oxidized it to the correct level to actually be what you were looking for.
All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a sip of that Crianza level that's been decanted again.
Okay.
Take another sip of that, and then I'm going to give you the Grand Reserva level.
Okay.
Okay, so I want you to compare the two.
Okay.
Okay, mm-hmm. Now I want you to compare that is the Grand Reserva.
There's more going on in the Grand Reserva. Now,
Yeah.
I get that deepness,
Mm-hmm.
but there's just more going on. It's got good acidity and everything coming towards me. Nothing is dulled, but I have more depth of flavor.
Okay, so I think that the result there, and I was going to do one more experiment with you before you drink all of that.
Sorry, that one's good.
That was good. Is I was going to put that through the aerator to see if the aerator improves it.
Okay.
Right? But I need another glass, so I'm going to cut here, and we'll come back. All right, we're back. So what I did then is, got another glass.
Yes.
Right? And I took the Grand Reserva and I ran the Grand Reserva through the aerator, right?
Okay.
So what does that do to the Grand Reserva?
I have to say I like that. It did the same thing they did on the Crianza level, but it is a better quality wine that I am getting. I still get that depth of flavor, but it's almost like it took that edge off. So it just smoothed it just a little bit. It did not take away any flavors at all that I'm getting. It just smoothed some of that, so I get all that fruit and things a little bit better. Yeah, it's interesting because this might be better in a decanter for a little bit of time. I don't know. We haven't tried that. It's not a super full tannic wine. A Rioja itself is not hugely tannic. So I think the aerator is about the right process. And I think for the Crianza, the reason I enjoyed it better through the aerator was that it was a base level. And if you decant a base level that also is not a super tannic wine, it's no longer really helping it or bringing it out as it would something that was very heavy.
Right. Well, and I think
Heavily
the important thing then, the lesson here, is that by aerating the wine, either through a decanter or through an aerator, right? They both work.
Right.
Right. So it's not just a gimmick.
No.
It's not just a gimmick. It does work. But what it will do for a wine that maybe is less complex, maybe a little thinner, less deep, it'll smooth it out and make it taste better.
Yes.
It will smooth it out. It's
Absolutely.
not going to turn it into a big, deep, rich wine with lots of complexity.
No, but it will, sometimes those tannins, if they are sharp initially, it's rounding those edges off, and that too much sharpness can kind of block those flavors of the fruit that you might be missing.
Right, so it'll definitely improve a lesser wine. And when you put a really nice wine through it, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to improve. What it's going to do is make it so that you taste more of the flavors in the wine and less of those the notes of either the alcohol or the tannins that are blocking those other flavors.
If you have a very, very heavy tannic wine, I do recommend the decanting that is for a longer period of time. It could be 30 minutes, it could even be an hour, depending on what wine that you are doing. A Nebbiolo, those are great wines to age, but if you're having it that it hasn't aged fully as might be recommended for that one, decanting would be recommended, and they will have lots of different recommendations depending on that wine of how long to decant that, 30 minutes, and like I said, some of them might even recommend an hour.
Right, so important to remember though, once you open it, once you decant it, you're drinking the whole bottle because
you're drinking it.
You can't put it back in the bottle with a funnel and hope to save it.
You can,
it's oxidized.
it's not gonna.
It's oxidized, and so it's kind of a one-shot deal.
Yes, and yes, I would not be putting it back into the bottle. Once it is, that's when I'm having company and I know, or we're just gonna drink the whole bottle.
All right, so what are we drinking today? And I think our choices here are the Gruner, which we've got open,
yes,
or the Rioja, which we have open.
Right.
So what are you drinking today?
Okay, so I'm gonna stick with that Grand Reserve Rioja. That's fantastic. Did you get the chilled velvet?
I did. It was fantastic. I want you to hand me that one over there.
I'm gonna go off camera.
Yeah.
Okay, the Veltliner that was still the right temperature.
Yeah, that was really nice.
You need to try that one.
I will
Okay.
try that one.
All right.
All right.
Cheers. What do you think?
That is good. That is really nice. But
Okay.
I also tasted it warm. When we were off camera, you handed me the warm one.
Yes.
And that was,
I had to have him taste the
that
warm
was
one.
sour and flat, and this is nice.
That's nice, right? All right. So just remember, no matter what your view, just enjoy.